Well, boy, I'm tearing these things up. Uh, Welcome to the, I guess, weekly podcast for the Taxpayers Page. My usual cohort is working tonight and could not make it, so I have the lovely Candy Davis here with me.
Hey.
So we can get y'all caught up on some stuff. I'm going to do a shout out first so we can kind of get this out there. And my shout out's really to all you guys who actually come in here and pay attention to these videos and pay attention to the page. You know, we appreciate you. You're the reason we continue to do what we do. That's so you guys, take a bow. Applause is out for you guys tonight. We're going to jump into a recap of the county commission meeting from the other night. Now, if you've got questions, if I don't answer them immediately, shoot me a message. I'll get a notification because Facebook is very wonky about when I'm actually doing these live streams and giving me notifications. And Candy's going to pay attention to her phone.
And see if,
Yeah, you should be able to keep. You'll be able to keep notice of any kind of updates or if any questions we've got. But we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna recap the county commission meeting from Tuesday night, and then we'll take and we're gonna jump into the election and talk about a few other things. We're gonna keep this short because we have been extremely long on these videos, so this one won't be no more than 30, 45 minutes. Just to let you know, we're gonna look at probably doing another one next Monday night and next Thursday night if we get candidates who want to come in and sit down and do the live stream with us. We've yesterday I sent out to every single position running for mayor, every single person running for mayor and alderman in the city election. If they want to come out here and sit down and have a Q&A with us, and you guys can come up here and ask questions of them. Everyone responded and was looking at. They couldn't make it for tonight, but they're interested in doing it at a later point. So, we'll see if we can't get some dates sent out to them and see if something works. Now, and before the question, we haven't gotten into the school board side of the city, and we can certainly do that. I know that I think Sarah Priest is actually running against Carl, and one of the. I think that's the only seat that's actually being challenged at this moment. But if you guys want for us to bring in the school board members, we can certainly send out invitations. Just give us a heads up and let us know. All right, jumping into the county meeting. This was about the budget on the first reading for the county. And here's how it went. The very first thing that came up for a vote is the property tax increase. Now, we had mentioned in a post we made earlier, there was 3 different budgets for the property tax increase. All 3 budgets included a raise. 2 of the budget had different raises in there, and then the third budget had a raise and a 10-cent property tax increase. The 10-cent property tax increase did not pass. So there will be no property tax increase at the county this year. And I'll just give it to you real quick here. The vote went 8-5 against. Really, if you want to count Junior Carter being absent, because his vote would have been a no, it was really 9-5. But the yes votes were Todd Beecham, Aaron Wood out of District 3, Mac Manus, Blake Stanfield out of District 4, and Joe Ross out of District 7. Everybody else was a no. So that the 10-cent property tax budget right there failed. So the next one they came up to was they were discussing the 2 different the pay raise budgets, which included no property tax increase. Now, we had touched base on this a little bit, but we'll give you what's going on with that. What's happened, and I don't know all of the departments. I haven't dug deep into it, and I haven't asked the questions. But I do know that the trustees department is one. In lieu of raises, what happened was the John Cavaness, the trustee, decided to give his people a day off during the week. So in other words, instead of working a 40-hour week, they're working 32 hours. But they're still getting paid for 40 hours.
Does he not have to have permission to do that? Can he just decide to do that on
He
his
is
own?
an elected official over his department. He can do what he wants to do.
And does not have to get permission from anyone?
Nope. He is
Okay.
over his department. As long as he is in accordance, following the accordance with state law, he can do what he wants.
Okay.
Now, and the same goes with the county commission controls the purse strings. If they want to give him money that he wants, they can. If they don't, then they don't have to. The county commission controls the purse strings. So, what happened here is, and I want to give you just a quick synopsis of this here. If you're making $20 an hour and you work 40 hours a week, you make $800. 20 times 40 is 800. Well, now if you're taking and you're only working 32 hours a week and you're still making 1,800, well, now you're making $25 an hour for those 32 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now let me give you that in percentage. To take and go from $20 to $25, that is a 25% pay increase. So this is what some of these commissioners are complaining about, is this is happening, and it's an issue. So they can't control, if he wants to give them 4 days off a week, they can't control it, but they certainly can control how much money they give him in his budget for salaries. And that's exactly what happened. Was at this meeting, when that vote came up, when they brought it up, they were discussing the two different budgets: the budget that gave everybody a pay raise, and then the budget that did not give the pay raise to the department, like the trustees. And what happened there, I believe it was, I think it was Blake Stanfield made the motion. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't Blake. I don't remember who actually made the motion on that there. But anyway, the motion the second got up there. The motion to pass the budget with partial raises passed 11-2 or 12-2 if you want to count Junior Carter as a no. Blake Stanfield and Aaron Woods voted no against that there. So I'm assuming they wanted to take in place the vote on the giving everybody a raise. So that's what happened. Was they approved a budget that had pay raises for certain departments, for most departments, except a few didn't get it. Or I don't know. Maybe in one department, maybe 2 or 3 departments. I don't know how many departments are given days off. I haven't dug that deep into it. And we'll check into that there for the next meeting, so we can have that information to share.
So John's department, they did not give a raise to,
They're not getting a raise
because
this
he's given them only 4 days to work.
year.
All right.
He's cut
But
their
yet
hours
they're
back.
still getting 100%
Of the
medical
pay.
benefits. Or is their
Now,
insurance
now,
totally
now,
covered?
now,
Like-
hold on a second.
I mean, you've got to roll in all those benefits as well.
Well,
That-
now let's get in here, because this is something that was brought to my attention after the meeting. Because again, I try to talk with commissioners as much as possible to get information, and they share information with me. From what I've gathered, unlike the city, not all the county employees get 100% of their benefit paid.
Okay.
From what I was told, and I'm just going by what I was told by a commissioner, so I'm going to kind of take it as gospel, that the highway department is the only department that pays 100% of their employees' benefits. No other department does that. That's what I was told by a commissioner. So I haven't checked into that there, and I will dig into that there to get that information. But and that kind of leads us into the next part of this discussion here with the budget cycle. When all this was going down, apparently the highway department is about $500,000 short on balancing their budget. They're in the red. They need some money, and that's what the property tax was going to be used for, was to balance the highway department's budget. Now, there was quite a bit of discussion here. The finance director, Megan Vineyard, was wanting the 10-cent property tax, and when it was in discussion and it looked like it was going to fail, or actually it may have been even after the vote, Blake Stanfield went back in there and said, well, can we look at a 5-cent tax increase? And wasn't the smartest move. She's like, well, that's not going to fix the problem. Yeah, but 5-cent tax increase would have generated $335,000 towards $500,000. It may not have cured the problem, but it certainly would have went a long way to help it than not having that property tax increase. And who knows if it even passed. And now this is me, as Joe Blow citizen out here. if you're giving raises and you know you don't have a balanced budget somewhere in one of your funds, then why are you giving raises? I mean, that don't make any damn sense.
Right.
Hold the raises, and yes, does it affect every department over one department that has a separate fund? Yes, but you know what? If you don't give the raises, you've got more money left over in the general fund and undesignated that you can take and roll over into the highway department fund and fix the problem. You know, and if they would have sat there and said, hey, you know, we can save $300,000 by not giving these raises, and I don't know, I'm throwing a hypothetical number out there, but hey, we can save $300,000 off these raises, and we can apply that towards the highway department, and that gets us in here at only needing $200,000. Well, now all you need is a 3-cent property tax raise. You know, if you come to me and say, hey, I need 3 cents because I'm short 200,000, and we didn't add to the budget, we didn't do a budget increase by adding raises, I probably would have supported that. You know, I still would have went back in. I'd want to know. I'd want to see if all the fat was trimmed in the highway department. And something that kind of bugs me here is if it's true that the highway department's paying 100% of the insurance, medical benefit insurance, in their department, but nobody else is. Well, that's a problem with the highway department superintendent. That's his responsibility. He created that problem because he can create that problem. He controls his department. And you know, after the meeting, I was talking with one commissioner who brought up something that I never really considered. And we tell people the same thing. I mean, if you got a problem, call your commissioner and ask them. But this is a great example of, if there's a problem within a department, like John Cavaness, who decided to give his people 32 hours a week at the same pay instead of 40 hours, well, you know what? Don't call your commissioner, because your commissioner can't help you with that. They have no control over that department. That goes to the person that you elected to run that department, in this case, John Cavaness. So, if you're not happy with the fact that he has cut his people's hours down to 32 and paying them the same as 40, then you need to pick up the phone and call him. Don't call your commissioner, because your commissioner's done everything they can at this point. They have no more control. They did exactly what they thought was right, which I would agree with. So now, you know, you got that issue there. Call that department.
And remember it the next time elections come around.
There you go. And guess what's happening? Starting December, the papers are going to get picked up. We're less than a year away from the primary for the county. And we all know whoever wins the primary is going to win the election.
All right, there you go, folks.
So,
who's going to run for trustee?
That's right. Somebody step up and run. You know, Candy did.
If I can do it, anyone can do it.
That's right. And if you ever need any questions, you know, understanding how things work, feel free to reach out and call any of us. We'll help out however we can. And let's go back in here. You know, I know there's a lot of complaints about the roads and stuff, and I haven't gone back in. I have had an extremely busy week this week with a bunch of stuff going on with politics and then with work as well. I'm going to go back in. I don't understand how the highway department has gotten so far in the red. I don't see that. I don't understand how that's happened. I don't get it. Now, one of the things that the finance director mentioned in the meeting the other night was that gas tax was going down. Which, you know, gas tax is where we get most of our funding for the county highway department. I went back in and I'm trying to see if I got them in here. I thought I had them somewhere, but I may have to pull them up again to see. I'm old and I lose my mind, so bear with me for just a second here, but I can pull it up on Facebook. Where is it at here? Get into the page. Let's see here. We getting any comments? Because I'm not even showing it on the page.
Not yet.
All righty, good. Well, I got it off the top of my head, so you know I'm not going to go back in and dig it. It's going to take me a while to do it. What I don't understand is when you look at a budget, there's three columns. You got one column is one column is a year ago. So that would have been the 23-24 budget. Then we have the middle column, which is the current budget, which is 24-25, and then the right column is going to be your 25-26 budget that they're voting on. Well, if you look at the line item for fuel tax, it has stayed $2.25 million all the way across the board. So last year, this year, and next year. So if there's a reduction in fuel tax, why is it showing on the budget?
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand is when I hear these things and I go back and I look at them like, well, you just said we had a reduction in, we're having a reduction in fuel tax, but yet your budget don't reflect that. I mean, are we getting, you know, I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, there's got to be, that's what I'm trying to figure out is where in the hell is this money going that we've gotten so far in depth on it. So, you know, there's a lot of questions that could be asked in regards to what's happening with that budget. So that's where we are with the budget. There's no property tax in the county this year. It failed. I'll say 9 to 5, and there will be the budget that passed only has partial. Not every department's getting a pay raise. The school budget passed unanimously. You know, that was almost nothing more than a formality of just taking the vote. There was not a lot of discussion about it because all this stuff had been discussed in previous meetings and in budget work sessions. And that was pretty much it for the county meeting. Their next meeting will be June 24th at 7 p.m. June 24th at 7 p.m. Now their normal meeting would actually be next Tuesday. That's being canceled. They're not going to have that normal meeting. They're going to do it on the 24th. And the reason being is they got to have time to advertise for this year, which we're not going to get into that tonight because posting of meetings, posting of minutes is so damn inconsistent. But, you know, the state legislature needs to step up. That may be something we need to talk. I may have to talk with Brock Martin about. They need to do something to make sure that these local governments are actually, they need to give them clarity on what they need, where they need to be posting minutes, because half the time I'm calling and I can't even get them from my commissioner, and that's pretty bad. But anyway, that's going to close out what we got on the county. No property tax increase. School board budget's passed, so that's all good. And this is all first reading. Next week we'll have well, on the 24th we'll have the second reading. So, and things may change on that point. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, but we're going to close that up there. Next thing we're going to get to is into the city election to kind of touch base on this here. Boy, we're doing good. It's only 18 minutes in. I love when I get people tell me that I do things that I don't know that I do. And I'm going to probably step off on this here a little bit. Did I put a gun to your head and tell you to run for city?
No, not at all.
Why did you run why are you running for city election?
Because I'm just fed up with what I perceive as waste, and I have an 82-year-old mother who lives on a fixed income, and she can barely make ends meet. I usually have to put money into her checking account at the end of the month because she has no money. And every time they raise property taxes, even though she rents, her rent goes up. She doesn't have the money.
That's it. Because she's not getting. I'm assuming she's probably on Social Security.
She's on Social Security, and she gets an $87 pension check from Fluid Routing, and that's it.
And so she may get a little bit of money in a COLA increase.
But it doesn't match the COLA that all of the city employees get.
There you go. Now
which
we're talking.
Causes the property taxes to go up.
And now we're hitting on something. There's something that Mayor McCready ran on. There's on the Tennessee dashboard, there's a metric that goes back in there and they show us where we are. And this was used for, this one, the TIF was a great thing. You know, it classifies us as distressed, at risk, transitional, and there's two more levels that gets up, you know, where you're doing really good. We were at risk for a while, so we were down towards the bottom. But this thing here has got some really interesting numbers. It gives you median income per capita and a bunch and information per capita. But what I look at down there is poverty level. Henderson County, and it's on the increase again. It's going back up. It had come down a little bit, but this is when COVID. And you got to think about it. When the Supreme Court passed it, where states could collect sales tax from online sales, that created a sales tax windfall, and that was the start of it. And you got to think about this here. There's some common sense. You're buying something from Amazon for $200, and if your zip code is 38351. Well, guess what? That money lands back into the city in the sales tax. Okay, so you collect that tax there, which was a big plus because a lot of sales tax was gone. Now let's move in. When that happened, this happened right before COVID. Well, COVID comes in, and what's happening with a lot of people? They're not going to Jackson to drive over there to go shopping. They're shopping online and having stuff delivered to their house. Well, guess what? Sales tax is going up more. Then we start getting COVID money. How much were those checks? I don't remember. 1,800?
Yeah, I think around 1,800 was one. Was one around 20, 23?
Yeah, there was some big money that came back in.
It was some nice money.
And I'm going to tell you, small businesses actually got COVID money as well. I had quite a few small businesses contact me about doing it. You know, we were in a position, we didn't take anything. Yeah, we closed down for a month because we could never get clarity whether we were essential or non-essential. But still, I mean, the fact of trying to take taxpayers' money, where everybody's like, well, you get free money. No, that's not free money. It costs all of us. It comes out of our pocket. So we refuse that. But again, here's more money that's put back in people's pocket. They're spending. And what's happening? It's more sales tax revenue. Then all of a sudden here, you know, people get out, COVID's cleared up, everybody's out just going crazy, just from being cooped up, and they're out spending even more money. And then and when that happens, sales tax goes up. Then inflation hits. And you know what happens in inflation? You're buying the same products, but you're paying a lot more money for them because the prices are higher. That's more sales tax revenue. Until it gets to the point where all this sales tax revenue is coming in, and you hit a damn plateau. And what happens there is, because people ain't got no more money to spend. You know, they were cooped up, so they're tapping in their savings. We're going to go out and spend some money here. We're going to spend some money there. Well, when all that happened, you actually could see our taxes go down. Well, not our taxes, our poverty levels go down because people have more money, and you know, so they were in a better position. Like I said, we're on an incline right now. Henderson County is at 18%, and just to give you some basic math, 28,000 residents. That's over 5,000 people in this county are at or below poverty level. If you get down to it, when you start looking at, I think it's under 18, 5,600 kids are at or below poverty level. And yet, you know, people can't understand that. You can't keep hitting people on this here. They just can't afford it. Now, you know, you talk about rent. We rent in our building, our shop here. Last year, when they did their last property tax increase, it went up $50. The year before, when they did their property tax increase, it went up $100. So in the last year and a half, our rent's gone up $150 per month. I'm not upset about that. You know, I'm you know, the good Lord's blessed me. I'm fortunate, and we could absorb that, and you know, we didn't have to raise our rates or anything. You know, we accepted it from what it was. I do not blame my landlord for that there, because this is an investment property for him. And if you're not making money off your investment, it's not an investment. So, you know, I don't fault my landlord whatsoever. You know, he came, and I'm sure probably anybody else he talked to may have been upset about it. I understood. I get it. I mean, it's the cost of doing business. And we have an outstanding landlord, I think the world of. But that's the stuff that happens there, you know, when it really picks things up, and when you bring it into perspective there, just, yeah.
Well, it's like when the property taxes went up, come time for my escrow to make a payment on my property taxes and my insurance, because I had to adjust my homeowner's insurance due to the property tax increase. Of course, there was a shortfall. And so my escrow had to make up for that and increase my payments to prepare for the next time.
Yep.
My mortgage payment went up $600 a month.
Now, for those who don't understand that there, what escrow is if you're financing a home, most lending institutions require an escrow payment. And what that's there for is they require that payment there, that you make a monthly payment, and part of it goes into escrow, which covers your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance. They require that there so they don't worry about you defaulting on property taxes and they have to fight or pay difference if they ever have to take your home back. Same thing, they want to make sure that you got coverage on your house if something was to happen, God forbid, to cover it. That's what that's all about. And yes, you take a property that is appraised at $100,000, which we don't see anymore hardly, and it jumps to $300,000. Well, your property, your insurance has to go up. Yeah, your property taxes when the city voted it in increased, and you had to pay more in your escrow. But what really got you is your homeowner's insurance, because now instead of being insured for $100,000, well, you got to pay to be insured for $300,000. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of difference. And when that happens, you get somebody who's sitting on the edge, or maybe 5% above that little level of that poverty line. Well, now you just added that to them. Well, you push them down to or below that poverty line, and that's why our percentages are increased. I think last year it was 16.1, where this year it's 18%. That's a huge difference.
It hurt.
I mean, you think about it. You know, we're talking about, I don't know, 2 times 28. That's almost 1,000 people that, because of reappraisals and all this stuff here, it's crazy. So that's kind of how we look at things. Let's get back in here and
You do have some. Kenny Bedwell said that they have a question off subject.
Kenny, if you can hear me, buddy, shoot me a message on Facebook and I'll take a look at what you got. Or you can, you know what, I'm reading here. Go ahead and ask it right now here on the page. We'll see if we can answer it for you. We've got it up here. Candy's doing a much better job of paying attention than I am. But let's get back into the election with the city. For the people who are up here saying that I had a candidate that tell me that I'm actually trying to control the city. You know what? That's the furthest damn thing from the truth. I'm trying to get away from control. I'm sick of control. I would like to see an equal and fair board that actually represents their citizens and not their own interest. And that's where I think that's where a lot of people are who are running right now. Now, if you haven't paid attention, there is a new name that has jumped into the race. Donna Ross has now picked up for positions 4, 5, and 6. So she is another candidate in there that's running for all the alderman seats. And obviously we know they can't run for every alderman seat. They have to qualify for one, which has got to be done by the deadline on June 19th at 12 p.m. So, take that in consideration that there's another person jumping in there. So it's kind of a wait and see on how everybody picks. And talking with Blake, Candy, and Patrick, I won't be shocked to see them pick up. Wait until a week or two before they have to get it done, which we're coming up on it pretty close anyway. But anyway, so there's another candidate in there. We'll see how this here whole plays out, but there seems to be a lot more people picking up papers for running for the mayor and the board member's position.
So Sandy asked, what are you running for?
Who did?
Sandy, if you're referring that question to me, I'm running for one of the alderman positions, and I have not decided which one I'm running for yet. I'm just kind of right now waiting to see what the people want. Because that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the people. I'm not here for myself. Uh, I don't have any agenda whatsoever. I'm just here for the people because that's what I am. I'm one of you. So it's just what the people want.
And I hope that's what you were asking there, Sandy. And if not, if you're asking about me, city election, I don't live in a city, so I can't run. But I do talk about the city because we have a business here, and we pay personal property taxes here. So yeah, and plus, we also, we're like most people in the county. We get our water from the city. People get their gas from the city. So yeah, we've got a vested interest in it. So yeah. So, but anyway, that's getting along in there. It's. I think for once we're seeing, I see people comment a lot. Replace them all. Replace them all. Replace them all. So tell you what.
You gotta have somebody
Well,
running to be able to replace. That's what I'm doing.
And there's enough people right now to replace them all if y'all wanted to.
Yes.
And I don't always agree with that. And the reason being is what I try to tell people to do is pay attention. You got to pay attention to how people vote and look at how that impacts you, or what it does to impact you. Most people, yeah. I had a visit today. I'm going to sidetrack here for just a second. I don't know if you guys remember in the county commission, the last county commission, Commissioner Harold Tyler out of District 2. I love Mr. Harold, think the world of him. He's a good man, and it tickled me to death to see him today. He came in and we talked, and we just kind of caught up on some stuff, and we talked about something that about people understanding how the process works, and everybody always talks about if people want to show up when they want to push property tax increases or any kind of rate increases or anything that's going to hit you in the pocketbook. But tell you what you don't realize is, or you should pay more attention to is, it's not just the increases, it's the waste. And what Harold and I were talking about was back when he was the commissioner, he kept trying to go up here and talk about all the students that come into Henderson County, into the Henderson County schools. What you guys may not understand, and we try to get out there and explain it to you, but every student that comes into Henderson County, if you have to pay for it, there's what they call a local match. So what happens is the state provides a lot of funding for education. Generally about 2/3, give or take, the state supplies to educate a child. And this is going to go back the numbers, from what Steve Wilkes, the prior superintendent, had told me. It was about 2/3. At the time it was the BEP funds, and the Statista funds now. But what was happening was the state was sending this money down, but it only covered about 2/3 of what it costs to educate that child. Well, that's fine and dandy. And what the school system was looking at is, well, hey, we're getting all this money in here, and and just to let you know, the school systems are building their reserves up. The county school system is building their reserves again. It's happening. I think from what I was told, it was somewhere their reserves are back up to $7 million. But let's get back in here and what Harold was trying to say, and what I'm trying to get at here is, when those students come from the other counties, yeah, the state's going to give you money for them. But the problem is, they're going to use your money to educate a child who doesn't even live in this county. And, you're talking probably a few $1,000s. Well, you get 300 or 400 kids. We're talking $1 million of your tax money. You know what? If that money wasn't, if that money wasn't being used there, then you would actually have more money. We probably wouldn't have be in the red in the highway department, because the county would have more money to spend. And it just, this is where you go and you have to really pay attention to how all this stuff works, because it's really in depth. But and understanding that you should be angry all the time. If you're worried about them pulling out of your pocketbook and wasting money, they are pulling out of your pocketbook and wasting your money every single day. You should be angry about that. I'm angry about it. And you know what?
I think you've already answered this. Sandy asked, You have a business in the city, does that not qualify you to run?
No, no. Um, no, that does not qualify me to run. You actually have to have residency in the city. Now, let me tell you, and well, saying we don't own our building, which is property. Now we pay personal property taxes. All the fixtures and stuff, all of our tools and stuff that we use to do our job, that's personal property, and we're taxed on that there from the city and the county. Um, and but that doesn't qualify as property tax. That's personal property. Two different things. Property tax is, and I think Sandy learned this when you picked up your papers for election. When if you're in the county, because I know people who are in the county who actually own land in the city. Well, they have what they call a property rights vote. So they can vote in the city election, but they cannot run in the city election because they are not a resident of the city. So yeah, there's no way that you have to be a resident inside the city limits to be able to take and run for any kind of office. I hope that helps out, answers that question for you there, Sandy. Hey, we're still got about 8 minutes left. We'll pop a couple more pieces of the conversation here. If you want to change what's going on, if you're not happy with it, the only way you can do it is at the voting polls. Either that or do like Candy did. Take and run. I mean, if you're not happy with things, there's been, I've heard it for years around here. This is a popularity contest. Yeah. And you know what? Yeah, I agree with that. It is a popularity contest. But let's remember this here. That popularity doesn't always equate to a vote. That popularity could be something that costs you a vote. People are paying more and more attention to the character of people and how they're voting for the incumbents, and then they're looking at new candidates. You need to be asking them questions. Where are you at? What are you running for? How can you help me? Because remember one thing here: if you're elected, what's your job?
To speak for the people.
It's as plain as that. I'll give you something here, and certainly not calling them out. I'm actually kind of praising them some. Jeff James is one of my commissioners in the county, and I'm going to tell you right now, Jeff has told me he will not vote for a property tax increase, and the simple reason he will not vote for a property tax increase is that's why his citizens in his district, that's what he voted him in for. So he wouldn't do that. So that's being a representative of the citizens. Does he have to make hard decisions at times? Sure he does. But, he still has to do the will of the people, and he is an extension of the people. That's a good public servant.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's the way everyone should be. If you're elected, you should do what the people elected you to do.
I'm going to say this here, and I know people get mad at me saying it, but I'll just say it. There are so many people, and it's the good old boy system is what everybody knows it as, that actually are employed by the county, employed by the city. And it's not everybody, so don't sit there and say, oh, he's stereotyping everybody the same. It's not that at all. We have some really outstanding people that work in this county and in the city. But there's still a lot of them in there that they really ain't worth a whole lot. But yet they're in there, and because of family connections. Nepotism is horrible in this county. I mean, absolutely horrible. And trying to patronize somebody by talking about nepotism but actually not doing anything to fix it, damn, that's a slap in the face. I've seen he just not said anything, but that happened last year in the city. It was a crap policy. But bottom line is, we are paying for these people here. They're making money off of our work, and I got a problem with that, and I'll always have a problem with it. And until it gets changed, until we get people in there who wants to make that change, this is where we stand.
Kenny's question is, have you heard anything about the rescue squad being done away with and is now part of Henderson County Fire Station 7?
Okay, Kenny, yeah. This was talked about a couple of meetings ago in the county. Yeah, the rescue squad has gone away. I don't know if it's officially complete. I think it may be going into the next fiscal year to do it, to get everything done. And it will be going to the county fire department. We'll be absorbing the rescue squad, building all the equipment. Everything will be going in under the Henderson County Fire Department. Now, from what I understand, that will be the rescue squad building will become Station 19 for the county. And
The rescue squad equipment's going to be distributed throughout
Yeah,
Henderson
throughout
County.
Henderson
to each
County.
fire station.
Yeah, so and look at it like this here. You know, I think this is a very intelligent move with the fire departments by putting extrication tools and stuff like that there on each one of the fire stations. That's just a very intelligent move. From the simple fact of, I'll give you a personal example. I pulled up on a wreck right after it happened. This has been, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, up on Rock Springs Road. And when I pulled up, there was 3 vehicles involved. I went to one vehicle that there was no damage. They had pulled off. They drove off the road so they wouldn't get hit, and they were fine. The other 2 accidents, there was one fatality in one vehicle. In the other vehicle, there was, I think there's some serious medical problems there. But when I got out there to go check the fatality, I checked the second vehicles down low. The person was actually sitting on the edge of the seat, and they acknowledged that they were okay. So I went to check on the third, and when I moved the side airbag curtain on the driver's side, person wasn't there. So I went around to the side, and if you've ever been around death, you can tell when somebody has bled out, and that's what had happened when I got there. You could see the paleness, and then I checked, there was no pulse. And from what I ended up finding out later on, I think an arterial artery was hit, and it was a real quick bleed out, and it was fatality. But there was an extraction. That person had to be extracted out of that vehicle. And when I called 911 the first time around, I didn't know. I thought, I'm used to where we're from, our fire departments actually have these on their trucks. So when I called, I said, you need to page out fire and ambulance service. You got a DOA here, and you got another injury. I was expecting fire to show up to run traffic and to do extrication. I did not know it was done through the rescue squad. Well, nobody shows up, and I'd actually called a fireman from Station 3 and never got a page. So I called 911 back and said, you need to have fire out here. There's people driving through this wreck right now. You need somebody out here controlling the traffic. And Station 3 would have been the closest response, especially coming out of Lexington. But anyway, that's when I started finding out more about the extrication tools. And I would have figured for sure Station 3 would have had them, since they cover the interstate.
You've got Station 2 and Station 3, and before children, I was a Station 2 volunteer firefighter. And they can respond to the interstate within minutes. But, if you've got someone trapped, you have to wait for the rescue squad to come out of Lexington. So with the fire department having those tools on their trucks, it's going to be a lot more beneficial.
Right.
They'll be able to get those people out.
Right, the response time.
Mm-hmm.
And it can save a life.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're coming from a central location, instead of having locations spread out, you lose time. And that can, be a matter of life and death. And I don't know, I can't praise our volunteer firefighters in the county enough. I mean, these guys are just absolutely, guys and girls are phenomenal. I mean, they really are. And I don't think if everybody truly appreciates just what they do for our county, it's not just the fact that they fight fires. No, that's just the tip of the iceberg. This volunteer service that we have, your homeowner's insurance is lower than it would be if we didn't have such an outstanding fire department. I mean, and if you don't believe me, go around, talk to your insurance agent, ask them about your homeowner's insurance, and see how much they think it would probably go up if we didn't have such a wonderful fire department. You know, I caught some slack last year, and I'll catch some slack again this year here. Yeah, Christmas bonuses. And I served in the military, so I was a government employee. We ain't never get a Christmas bonus. I never saw a Christmas bonus. Didn't get one. Didn't care for one. Didn't think nothing about it. I didn't complain about it. I was, hey, that's fine. I got my salary, and I was good with what I made. My philosophy is if we're going to give Christmas bonuses, why don't we give them to the volunteers who are actually doing so much more for us
Yeah.
that we don't even appreciate? These people are volunteering. They're not asking to be paid. But hell, the least we can do is give them a little bit extra money, just as a thank you.
The only perk I know that they get now, and this just happened over the last few years, is they get one free license plate in the family. But that's it.
Well, there's something that I think, I don't know exactly. I think there's some continuing education that they can do, and I think the state will give them like $600 or something like that. I've heard about that. I haven't dug a lot into it, so I'll have to look into that there. But yeah,
That's
you know,
nice.
thumbs up to our volunteer county fire system. I mean, they're just, you guys are the. I personally, I thank you.
You've also got one, I don't know that this really, Sandy says, I learned today that our electricity is likely to go up because of something Trump is trying to pass. Do you know anything about that?
No, and I don't know if that's would even have anything to happen locally here. TVA, a lot of people have a misconception with the electric system. They're kind of a different entity than our other utility systems because Tennessee Valley Authority actually has a lot of oversight. Our last two rate increases through LES came down from TVA. So, you know, LES doesn't. TVA will not allow LES to go in here and start jacking up your rates to make a lot of money. They provide oversight there. TVA actually, I mean, there's auditors, independent auditors, separate for LES system. So yeah, there's yeah, unless there's something going on with whatchamacallit, yeah, I don't see anything that the president can enact that can cause any of that there. I think that would have to be something approved through Congress, but I'm not 100% sure on that there.
Do you want to handle Chelsea?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll hit Kevin and I'll hit Chelsea at the same time. Kevin, I mean, dude, you come up here to watch, and if it's the same old song and dance, I don't know why the hell you're up here watching. And if you're upset because I'm talking about pay raises for police officers, sorry, dude, you're going to tell you what, it's my money that pays that salary of yours. So, yeah, I got to say. Chelsea Barnes, I don't know who you are. If you haven't figured out, you spelt my real name up there. Where am I really from? I'm actually from Mars. Is Minna from Mars?
Yeah.
That's it. So I'm from Mars. These are the same questions I dealt with before, and I'm just not going to deal into this here. If you want to go back on the taxpayers page and read it from the very beginning, you can see where I addressed all of this stuff here. But I'm not going to sit here and, if you guys want to keep beating the same damn dead horse, go ahead. If you want to come after me, come after me. You know where I work at. I'm right here. I don't hide from anybody. I stand up. I go to the meetings. So if you think that I am somebody I'm not, I don't know what to tell you. You know, if you're not happy with the fact that whatever it is, I have no clue. I don't even know who this person is.
I mean, there's always the scroll on button.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see it now. Here we go. Married to a police officer in the city of Lexington. Now I get it. Yeah, there's always something that you can go back in and find when you just take a look at some people. And you know what? Yeah, same damn thing. It's my money that pays the salary. If my money's not there, the salary don't get paid. So yeah, I've got an issue with it because I'm tired of paying additional pay raises constantly. It's just constant pay raises. It just, yeah.
All the meetings that I go to, it's the discussions wind up centering around pay raises.
Mm-hmm.
There's never a deep discussion about assets or the budget line items, you know, what they're spending on police cars. You know, they just say, okay, you need $60,000 for a police car. We'll give it to you. There's no discussion about property or anything that they need. It's just always a discussion about pay raises. It's like
That's
that's
it,
all
yeah.
they're concerned about is pay
Yeah.
raises.
That's it.
I mean, I'm concerned about pay raises. I didn't get a pay raise last year, but,
Did you get upset and raise Cain?
well, no, I
Did you
mean,
throw a fit, tantrum, or anything?
it's life. Sometimes you don't get a pay raise, and
That's
then the
it.
next year you hope you do, but it's just every meeting winds up centering around pay raises.
That's it.
I want to know what my money is going towards with other things. you
Hell,
know?
I like for the police department to tell me who the hell the dead body was back behind our building over Christmas. Still ain't found that out yet.
Probably will never.
Probably never will, that's right. Anyway, 7:51, we went about 6 minutes over. We were trying to keep it to 45. You guys have a wonderful night. We're going to try to do this here again Monday if we can get one of the candidates who want to step up in here. And Thursday as well. You know, we're going to work around the candidates, whether they want to come in there one-on-one. And if a couple of them want to come at a time, it don't matter to me. I mean, we can bring them all in and have a discussion with it. But anyway, y'all have a wonderful night. For me and Miss Candy, y'all, we'll see you next time.